want to go ahead. I just wanted to show that sequence, how they go through. You can go deeper by following the hexagrams, because inside the first one was deliverance, then there was dispersion, disillusion, and there was, I call it discernment, but they call it the abysmal. And then it went into youthful folly, and then into the army of control till you get to 2022, October 7th, 2022, when the progressed sun goes into Capricorn. Okay, it's this point, after it goes into Capricorn, it starts to get very interesting. Okay, here I put 2 degrees going from 0 degree Capricorn up to 12 degrees of Capricorn on the chart. And let's see what I have ahead here just for a second, one more minute. Oh, no, just go ahead. Yes, we go deeper into, this one is, okay, we'll come back to this. Okay, it's all a puzzle. We're just tuning into it. There's so much to tune into it. Like, you're at a state of wondering at this point. We know he's going deep, so we're looking deeper to expand to see these other themes coming through. And how much can you tune into it? How much can you tap into it? So the whole challenge of the I Ching, which are the hexagrams, it's all based on duality, solid and broken minds, light and darkness. But the real teaching at the solstice is how do you get beyond duality between male, female, between you and me, them and us, until you get to the point of peace within it all. That's the mystery of the winter solstice. 3 days later, when the sun starts coming north, it's the birth of the light, of the child of light, that manifests these new ideas. That's the birth of the savior of light. Okay, so instantly it changes from the hexagram of the receptive to the hexagram of, it's called return to turning point, but I think I would rather call it the birth of the light, or the first step, or the first thought, a new beginning. This is the beginning point. The idea comes, but it doesn't show outwardly yet. Something changed. You got an idea, suddenly you're gonna have to work at it. Nobody knows, but something's changed inside, and it's committed you to the next cycle of action. By progressions, that would be the next 360 years, but really in a lifetime to get such a moment, it really completes things and changes the nature of the next lifetime that would come in as well. So this hexagram, there it goes through the hexagram, return to turning point. I'm not sure I'm going to read all of this one because we're just going to get time, but and we get into this deeper, looking at the pentans, and so this goes from the Sag Virgo pentan to the Capricorn Libra pentan. Goes from the mutable to the cardinal. What a distinct change! But it's in Capricorn. It's still, it's restrained, it's controlled, it's listening, it's cautious. It's not showing yet, but it's changed inside. Okay, this is the magic of this winter solstice. And it goes on. In 2026, it's going to square, 2027, it's going to square the moon and the Venus. So there's a challenge between family, wants, lifestyles, money, all these things come up in 2026. Some inner struggle with the attitude to it. It's not just about the things, it's the attitude to how they have to be dealt with or not dealt with. Okay. So some pressures there, testing your peacefulness. But then it moves along, and it goes in. See, after that's finished, that's all in the Libra phase, the Capricorn Libra phase. Then the pentan shifts to Scorpio, and you go into the next stage of 5 to 6 degrees of Capricorn. It goes into the Libra phase, but it still is in the hexagram of dealing with obstructions to thinking, obstructions to thought. Is that obstructions? Yes. Yep. And then after that develops into more. Okay, I'm rambling. Let me just go on. Then it's going to come and square the ascendant before it comes up to hit the IC, the conjunct the IC. This is the big turning point, 2031, October 22nd. And it'll stay with it. So this is 3 degrees, 12 degrees of the zodiac, 2 hexagrams, and the pentans, each pentan is for 1 degree. No, each pentan is for 5 degrees, each subpentan. Yes, a hexagram. Each line of hexagram is a hexagram for that line. So the hexagrams change. Yeah, okay, so we get the pentans for 5-degree divisions. The progress sun's going to be for 30 more years for the rest of his life, probably. It will be in Capricorn. And maybe he'll get to Aquarius, probably get to Aquarius towards the end of his life. But there's work to be done. This is the beginning of a long-term cycle. And in the pentans inside it will give you 5-year steps. First, the Libra step, sharing, being appreciated, then the commitment, the judgmental step, then the Sag step. So then there's kind of a solstice point building up on the pentan level, but we'll come to that later. We won't even get to that. But I want to get to look at the hexagrams and the stories around this IC so we can elaborate that depth more. So this first drawing was, it was done for, where are we here? 1 degree, like it was done for every, there's a position for the birthday each year, and then there's a position for every time it hits 0 degrees, 1 degree Capricorn, 2 degrees Capricorn, 3 degrees. So you have the exact degree. So that's a 1 degree orb, and that's to here. We're going to a chart that I didn't do the tightest one, which is 1 degree 40 minutes. This is 10 minutes of a degree. So 10 minutes of a degree. Here's the 6 degrees of Sagittarius, which we just read through the hexagram. Hexagram line 2, hexagram 2, line 6, line 5, line 4, line 3, line 2, line 1, up to the solstice. Here's the Virgo theme of the discrimination needed to cut through the superficialities to get to what real truth and understanding is. These are the sub-pentans that come up and play part for 2-month periods inside of this. So I'm not going to get into this that much further. It's the next one that has, I think it's the next sheet. That's, yeah, down further here. Okay, so there's 3 sheets of these progressions. So this one is the beginning, goes into Capricorn. I've highlighted the 1 degree, then 1 degree is not highlighted, 1 degree. 1 degree, just so you can see each degree. As you see each degree, the hexagram line number will change. Line 1, 25, hexagram 24, return, or at the beginning, the first step, and it's line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That goes up to the 6 degrees of Capricorn. Inside of that, you have the hexagram, the trigram, and the pentan of Libra, and it goes through each year. Each year is going to be 1 hexagram, 33, retreat, influence wooing, 31, 56, the wanderer, 62, the preponderance of the great, preponderance of the small, and then development, gradual progress. So, and you can see that there's some, now these crises, when it's going to be like progressed sun squaring Venus and Mars, those are going to, these are the dates, but it's going to last for at least a year before this and a year after this. There's going to be a shadow of this going on. Okay, this is the one I wanted to look at more. Where it comes to part, when we got into the part where it comes up to Capricorn, it's that mystical point. That's first level. Second level, right in one's life and one's houses and one's anchors in life, the umbilical cord of the soul is the IC. The progression's coming down to the purpose of life, where I came from, the deeper questions still are being asked. So that it hits the 0 Capricorn is a good preparation. It's really fortunate to have that depth first, and then going to a greater depth on the IC in Capricorn. This is a really positive listening deeper, listening more. Okay, it'll take, but in his nature of having to do things, to act on his vision, he's going to listen. At some point, he's going to have to do something with his vision, with his understanding. But right now, it's a question of how deep does he want to understand? How far does he want to go? He needs teachers. He needs to be studying the progressed sun in the 3rd house to get more information. He needs to keep his learning curve, spiritual learning curve, going deeper. So 2028, the progressed sun hits 6 degrees Capricorn. And by 2031, it hits the IC. October, this is November 31, it hits the IC. So November 31 is the ultimate deepest point in his life. How much is he going to tune into it? How much is he going to run away from it? How much is he going to tune into it? Does this mean anything? I think in talking about this, it's going to confirm his imagination, his contemplations of where he's going and what his purpose of his life was. And that it may come different from what happened around him. It doesn't mean what happened around him was wrong. What happened around him provided the perfect environment for him to complete those experiences till he could get to a point of inner understanding in spite of those, or in contrast to those. That understanding would have developed if those things weren't in place. Nobody gets born without coming through the cervix. Well, you can now, you can slice it out and come out, but you lose a certain amount of pressure or vitality in life by doing so. A certain amount of stamina. But by the time you get through the cervix and you get through this impossible space and you get breath and you come to see light on the other side of the tunnel, wow, that's how tension releases. That's how spiritual things work too. Okay, so as we come through here, this is in the hexagram. It's 6 to 12 degrees Capricorn. It's the hexagram called the corners of the mouth, providing nourishment. And the lesson basically within it is you have to be careful not only about what goes into your mouth, but what comes out of it. So there's a Capricorn thing. You're going through, this is going through a New Year's period. Right? Like going through from Christmas up to 6 to 12 degrees of Capricorn. So this is from about the 29th to the 3rd. And this theme of providing nourishment, that's the time when most people are getting drunk, plateauing themselves, trying to celebrate, and doing exactly the opposite of what they're supposed to be doing. Be cautious, sit still, and be disciplined, don't say stupid things, don't eat all the junk. And these challenges are there as a spiritual discipline. So this is a test for 6 years, providing nourishment. Then it's going to go through its lines, but inside of this, the first, and right up till it hits the IC, it goes into a Scorpio pentan. So the Scorpio pentan is running from this 6 degrees, it's running from 5 degrees Capricorn, but the 6 degrees right up till 2031 when it hits the IC, it's still in the Scorpio pentan. So there's a need for deep judgment inside the Capricorn. It's Capricorn theme, but a Scorpio inside theme. And the inner theme will go through Scorpio, Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. It goes through the winter half, the dark half of the zodiac on the pentan level. So all of these working on deeper, and they're not about individual, they're about opening and being open and inclusive and seeing things, and blossoming to understand the deeper implications of things. Who's done what, what's karma, what's not. Where is it all coming from? That deeper puzzle is this progress on hitting the IC. So it's like while it's going through progression, the corners of the mouth, the hexagram goes through double stillness, goes through modesty, goes through standstill, stagnation, and then it goes through gathering together, and it finally completes itself in the hexagram of progress. So understanding and progress within it. There's an inner development through the Scorpio, through judgment that comes to the greatest depth and finds light in the depth. And that's the symbol that's here. And inside of this, there's a Piscean subtheme in there which adds the compassion. So it's Capricorn, Scorpio, Pisces, very emotional within the Capricorn. And the Piscean side, the pentan, it has a hexagram called the family, the clan. So it's understanding the depths of it. What's a family, clan, where you came from, what you came. So it's judging the whole works.